inside El Chapo's life behind bars. Didn't he escape, like, already? I thought he was escaped. They caught him again?
We begin tonight with that massive manhunt underway in Mexico for the man considered to be the
Or did they
world's
find him
most
again?
dangerous drug lord.
He has now escaped from prison for a second time. Late last night, Joaquin El Chapo Guzman.
Tonight, an international manhunt is underway for Joaquin Guzman, nicknamed El Chapo.
There's an old saying in Tennessee, I know it's in Texas, probably in Tennessee, that says, fool me once,
Shame on you.
If fool me, we can't get fooled again.
Fool me one time, shame on you.
El
What y'all know about J.
Chapo
Cole?
Guzman
Bro?
had escaped from maximum security prison
Probably
twice,
pretty fast,
and those
bro.
2 times he had embarrassed the Mexican government. But there would be no 3rd time. So, when they caught him again, they put him in a prison located in the middle of nowhere. Brace yourself, as we head inside a place referred to as Life After Death, the ADX Supermax. After El Chapo was arrested for the 3rd time in 2016, the question on everyone's mind was, how do you imprison someone who has so far shown that no prison can hold him? Or how do you imprison a man who once said, "It doesn't matter how many times you feel trapped, there's always a way out."
Yeah, especially when you're one of the biggest drug lords in the entire world and you got a whole gang behind you. Like, if they really wanted, they could, like, infiltrate the gang, kill all the guards, and get them out. Most likely. Or the prison, not the gang.
But when El Chapo uttered those words, he probably hadn't heard about ADX Florence. Or maybe he had, because when you've managed to escape from 2 Supermax
No, I'm gonna get
prisons,
XQC
you've
haters in my
probably
chat,
earned the
bro.
right
Don't
to
do
drop some TEDx quotes for your
Or
fellow criminals.
stands.
Still, the feds knew that capturing El Chapo is one thing, but keeping him in prison, that's a different ballgame. So, they took him to ADX Florence. This is the home for those that have been
No,
determined
I
to be
have
a
heard
threat
about
to
this. No,
national-
isn't this the prison that's, like, literally, like, they give you, like, 1 meal a day and you get, like, 30 minutes outside in, like, a cage, bro? Dude. Yeah, isn't this, like, the most secure prison in the world? Yeah, nah, he's not getting out of that.
Security, or the place for prisoners most capable of extreme violence towards staff or other inmates. Ever since it was opened in January of 1995, the ADX Supermax has maintained its reputation as one of those penitentiaries that no one has ever been able to break out of, and the reason for this isn't far-fetched. ADX was designed to be impenetrable, a place where even a criminal Houdini like El Chapo wouldn't dare plan an escape. But it's not just designed to incarcerate its prisoners, but also to break their souls.
Yeah.
Here, the man nicknamed as Shorty is neighbors with the likes of the math professor turned domestic terrorist Ted Kaczynski, the underwear bomber Umar Abdul-Muttalab, and Larry Hoover. The Alcatraz of the Rockies, as they call it, is built in an unincorporated area, aka the middle of nowhere, located about 100 miles south of Denver and 40 miles south of Colorado Springs. And if any prisoner does manage to pull off a Schofield, one of the closest facilities he would see down the road is Fort Carlson, which of course only helps to further his course. Behind the walls of ADX Florence, the maximum number of prisoners that ADX can accommodate is 551 inmates, but the facility has never been at full capacity before. For obvious reasons, the Federal Bureau of Prisons has always opted for a high staff-to-inmate ratio, and as of August 2022, the Supermax had a total of 341 inmates. In most prisons, prisoners are only put in solitary confinement as punishment for bad behavior, but solitary confinement is not a punish in ADX. Instead, it's just the order of the day. All the inmates are locked in their cells for 23 hours every day and are under 24-hour supervision. But of course, you can say that some prisoners in ADX have it easier than the rest, as the prison has various security levels. ADX has 6 different security levels, and due to the prison's low population, 2 of the housing units have been closed. The 4 units in operation...
Yeah, this type of prison is definitely better than the prisons where you're, like, crammed with, like, 300 people in, like, one cell, dude. Those type of, I would actually... I don't know. If I was in this type of prison, I'd actually probably... You know, do something to myself in GTA 5. I really just made it a Twitch account for the joke. Yeah, bro, but you could real life never be the real creeper head. 1, 3, 4. You know what I'm saying?
The moment are the General Housing Unit, the Control Unit, the Special Security Unit, also known as H Unit, and Range 13. The units not operating at the moment are the Special Housing Unit and the Intermediate or Transitional Unit. In ADX, the lowest security level is the General Population Unit, or GenPop. Prisoners in this unit get to socialize and share a dining room with other inmates. They're allowed to secure themselves in their own rooms and walk freely in their own range. Some inmates in the GenPop unit can even earn transfers to another prison if they don't cause any problems while in this unit. Next on the security security level is the Control Unit. You can say this unit is home or used as punishment for inmates who have committed serious conduct violations or acts of violence at other institutions. Control Unit is also the home of members of prison gangs and members of high-level organizations that Uncle Sam deems to be threatening. The next unit on the ADX food chain is the Special Security, or H Unit. This is the place where notorious member of terror groups are housed. This is where you'll find domestic terrorist Terry Nichols and the underwear bomber Abdul Muttalab. But there's only one unit.
Who is
that
the
has been
underwear
deemed suitable
bomber? I don't
for
know
El
what that
Chapo,
is.
and it's none other than Range 13. Inside Range 13. Despite all the great security apparatus that makes ADX Florence the fortress that it is, criminals like El Chapo would always believe there's a chance. Shorty believes there's always a way out. El Chapo probably believes this because of a fact not everybody knows, which is that every prison, no matter how fortified they may be, they all have the same weak point. This weakness is the staff members. It's the greatest irony of the prison system. The people who are supposed to ensure that none of the inmates escape from prison are also the inmates' most accessible ticket for an escape. And El Chapo's
Low-key, couldn't he just like drop them all? He's like, hey, I could real life give you a bag. Just, you know, look the other way real quick. He could do that for everybody. He could give them like each 100 mil and just be out, bro. He's like that. Like, you know how much money these drug lords make, bro? It's crazy.
Is proof that the statement is true. When El Chapo was arrested for the first time, he was imprisoned at the Puente Grande maximum security prison. Here, El Chapo lived like a king. You could say he had an arrangement quite similar to what Escobar had in La Catedral. He had all the guards in his pocket, and he was the unofficial warden of his prison. He had so much freedom that it makes you think, was he serving a sentence or was he on vacation? But would he be able to corrupt the guards of ADX? Well, I don't think so. Not only are they not allowed to talk to him, every guard in this penitentiary has been carefully vetted by the authorities. And this is not just because of El Chapo, but because the ADX is home to some of the worst criminals our world has ever seen.
I would
Also,
never
you won't
work
even
there,
be able
bro.
to talk to the guards, as there are two doors that separate El Chapo from anyone outside his cell. There is an interior door, and just behind it, another door made of solid metal. And these doors allow the guards to pass him food without even seeing his face. But let's say Shorty finds a way to buy one of the guards. He's a billionaire after all. Will the guard be able to do anything to help him break out of the prison? That's not going to happen either. ADX is littered with countless cameras. Some of them are in plain sight while others are hidden. The entire prison is also equipped with pressure pads and motion detectors that let the guards know about any unauthorized movements. If the guards notice any strange happenings, they can easily hit a
that's
panic
raps,
button
bro.
that
That's
locks down
raps.
every door
You're
in the
never-
prison immediately. And El Chapo won't be able to get any help from
You're never
outside the prison
escaping that,
either,
bro.
because the structure of ADX makes it impossible for El Chapo to know the prison well enough to give information to his men outside on how they can bust him out. He only spends 1 hour out of his cell every day for some exercise, and the 60 minutes is never consistent. What this means is that the time he is let out every day isn't the time he's let out tomorrow, and that makes it very difficult to plan an escape. It goes without saying that when El Chapo is let out of his cell, his hands are cuffed behind his back, and he's also escorted by 3 guards. But you can also say that when El Chapo is being moved out of his cell, he's just being transported to another prison. The area designated for his exercise is a concrete pit that has also been described as an empty swimming pool. The pit was sunk into the ground so that inmates won't be able to identify their exact location whenever they're in it, once again, making it hard for them to give any information to anyone to help plan an escape. This recreation area only allows him to take 10 steps in a straight line and 30 steps in a circle. And on his way back to his cell, El Chapo can't see anything to help him bust out of ADX either, because the walls surrounding this Pandora's box are not only patrolled with guard dogs at all times, they're also 12 feet high with razor wire fences on top of them. Should he ever make it to the grounds without being detected, he would have the easy task of trying to scale this fence in front of the heavily armed guards in one of the many towers. El Chapo is...
Bro, there's zero way that, like, imagine being stuck in a prison. Imagine being stuck in a prison for the rest of your life where you know there's no chance of anybody getting you out no matter how much money you have at all. And you get 1 hour a day of being in an empty swimming pool where you can just look up into the sky. There's no way life can be good at that point. Like, you have to either really know that you're going to be able to get out, or you just... might be it, bro. Might be it for your life.
Is also famous for
I'd
using
rather
an
have the
underground
death penalty
tunnel for
than
a
life,
second
bro.
escape, but it's impossible for him to escape from ADX Florence by digging a tunnel. Shorty is stuck in a 7 by 12 foot cell. The walls, ceilings, and floors of the drug lord's room are all made out of reinforced concrete, and the light in the room is remotely controlled by guards and left on at all times, so there are no days and nights in El Chapo's room, kind of like a casino. El Chapo's room is no comfort zone. Everything in it is built into the cell infrastructure. He has a solid concrete table and chair that is barely big enough for him to sit on. He also has a toilet toilet and a bathroom that comes with a timer to prevent the inmates from drowning themselves. Also, in the cell is a concrete slab where El Chapo's thin mattress is placed, and a small shelf that accommodates a radio and a black and white TV. Why it's black and white I couldn't tell you. But unfortunately, Shorty doesn't get to watch telenovelas or any premium content. All he gets to watch are religious and educational programs, so he won't get to watch this video or any of the other cool documentaries we've made about him. El Chapo's window doesn't exactly give him a good view of his surroundings either, although I'm not sure you can call it a window so much as a narrow slit in the wall. So when he looks out of this window, all he would get to see is a scenic view of the sky and the other prison roofs around him. So he still doesn't get to know where he's at, but he can get a good guess at the weather. In range 13, Shorty's room is like a tomb for the living, where no one, not even God, would hear him if he's screaming for help, as his room is also soundproofed. If anyone tries digging a tunnel down below, not only do they have to plow through reinforced concrete, the pressure pads and motion detectors would waste no time in exposing them. And there's also the small problem of a camera that is attached to the ceiling that monitors every movement within the cell, every second of every day. Being an inmate in ADX is like living in the hell of a panopticon, and the only way El Chapo is getting out of ADX Florence is probably only in the scripts of a Hollywood movie written by James Cameron, or maybe Christopher Nolan.
Yeah. Plug! That's a fire transition, but not. Hey, living like that would suck. So yeah, if y'all really just want to avoid that, just don't become the biggest drug lord in the entire world. Simple as that. But hey, I think we're gonna hop on a game now, man. I'm like,
Damn, man, this shit hit.